we have to close it properly if you are saying we're going to close this part. The minister either must accept that he was misleading the House, or he honestly thought that thing was there. That's why he committed that in the next, I'm the one who said, in the next meeting, just come with that part. And he said, no problem, we'll come with it. But how do you say you will come with a part you never had? Because he was making us to play something he never had. So had we not insisted on that part being brought, this House would have been misled. Either he was doing it deliberately, and if he was not doing it deliberately, he has to apologize to the people of South Africa, who sat in anticipation that a minister who has taken an oath, and even not just an oath, also took an oath in this House to tell nothing else but the truth. If he made a mistake, he must say to the people of South Africa, I apologize, I made an error of judgment, it's not there, this issue is not there. Unless he was deliberately misleading us. But if you have made an honest mistake, you have to apologize. And I insist that he has to apologize if he made an honest mistake. People have left what they were doing, waiting to come and hear a part where a general is threatening a minister. That's not a serious, it's not a simple allegation to be made and just leave it like that. That allegation was made. Now there is an acceptance. There is no evidence to that effect. I was actually misled, and I therefore apologize. That is what we insist on, Honorable Chair, for this matter to be closed.
Suspended Police Minister Sansom Mchunu told a parliamentary inquiry on Tuesday that his decision to appoint Cedric Nkabinde as his chief of staff was based on qualifications and experience, not personal relationships. Responding to questions from Chief Evidence Leader Advocate Norman Arendse, SC, Mchunu said Nkabinde's policing background and understanding of law enforcement made him the ideal candidate, and said, I would have benefited from somebody who has a background of how police work, and he met those criteria. You appoint somebody you can trust, Mchunu said during his testimony at the inquiry, probing allegations of corruption and political interference in South Africa's criminal justice system. The inquiry was triggered by a 6 July press briefing from KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who accused Mchunu of political interference and disbanding the political killings task team to protect criminal syndicates. Mkhwanazi testified 2 weeks ago that he was surprised Mchunu had taken Nkabinde with him from the Department of Works and Sanitation, noting that Nkabinde had previously admitted he had little knowledge of the responsibilities of the Chief of Staff role. According to Mkhwanazi, Nkabinde and former Independent Police Investigative Directorate IPID head Robert McBride had once met with Mchunu at Nkabinde's home to discuss an ongoing criminal investigation at IPID. Mkhwanazi suggested that while Mchunu may have been implicated in the case, the meeting indicated a working arrangement between the minister and the investigators. Mchunu, however, provided context for the meeting, saying it occurred after he had written to McBride about a complaint concerning the murder of a member of his security detail during his tenure as KZN Premier. He said rumors falsely implicated him in the death, prompting an investigation by the Hawks, even though the Director of Public Prosecutions had declined to prosecute, and said McBride assigned Nkabinde to investigate my complaint. I maintained contact with him and he provided feedback on the progress. He added that he also hired a private investigator to ensure the matter was handled objectively and that those responsible were held accountable. Addressing claims that Nkabinde was unemployed when appointed, Mchunu said Nkabinde had left IPID for a banking role and had informed Mkhwanazi of his employment. On the other hand, Mchunu's testimony contradicted evidence previously given by Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Shadrack Sibiya, who told the committee he removed the dockets because he could not disobey an order from the minister. Mchunu told parliamentarians that there was no word at all about dockets in my directive in his December 2024 letter, giving the instruction to disband the task team. He added that his decision to dissolve the unit was administrative, not an attempt to protect criminal networks. The committee's inquiry into corruption and criminality in the justice system, running parallel to a commission chaired by retired Judge Mboiseni Madlanga, has become the late arena for the senior police officials to trade accusations of interference and misconduct. At the Madlanga Commission, Mkhwanazi testified that Gauteng-based Big Five cartel had influenced the disbandment of the task team, which was investigating dozens of politically linked assassinations in the province. In Parliament, he repeated those claims, accusing Mchunu and senior officers of halting sensitive investigations and shielding suspects from prosecution. Sibiya, who implemented Mchunu's directive to dissolve the unit, has consistently rejected Mkhwanazi's version of events, describing the allegations as baseless and part of a succession battle for the position of National Police Commissioner. Sibiya told members of parliament that Mchunu's directive was clear that the task team should be disbanded immediately, a team he considered elite and unaccountable. However, Mchunu's testimony this week appeared to undermine Sibiya's defense, suggesting that the deputy commissioner could have acted on his own interpretation of order. Asked by ANC Member of Parliament Thokozile Sikonyane whether he was aware that his directive had caused investigations to stall, Mchunu replied that the handling of case files followed a very different process from the administrative disbandment of the task team. Mchunu also categorically denied any connection to Vusi Muzike Matlala, a murder suspect alleged to have lobbied for the task team's shutdown through Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi, and said, "I've never met Matlala alone. I've never met him in the company of Brown Mokhotsi and possibly in any other capacity. He's not somebody that I know. He's not somebody that I've spoken to directly or indirectly." His statement aligns with Sibiya's previous testimony, denying any involvement with Mokhotsi or Matlala after the Crime Intelligence Head, General Dumisani Khumalo, presented WhatsApp messages at the Madlanga Commission, allegedly linking them to the disbandment. Sibiya told members of parliament he doubts the authenticity of the messages and suggested they may have been tampered with during Matlala's bail proceedings. However, Sibiya admitted to knowing Matlala as a service provider in the SAPS and held a meeting to address tender contract issues. Meanwhile, on Friday, Mchunu told the parliamentarians that his chief of staff, Cedric Nkabinde, had informed him about Mkhwanazi's threats. And then Nkabinde told me Mkhwanazi is angry and said I must withdraw the letter. If the minister doesn't withdraw, there will be a fight back. I then said, let's see what will happen. One of the things racing in my mind was why this affects Mkhwanazi to this point. Mchunu played a recording between Nkabinde and Mkhwanazi where Mkhwanazi supposedly made threats, but there was no part in the recording where Mkhwanazi threatened Mchunu. Mchunu on Friday promised to provide the correct recording when he resumed his testimony on Tuesday. However, ad hoc committee chairperson Sophie Lekanyane said the committee did not receive Mchunu's evidence and said our support team followed up with the minister and his team to forward the extract he wanted us to play on that day. As of the time of proceedings this morning, that extract has not been forwarded to us as it stands now. The ad hoc committee doesn't have the extract. AFF leader Julius Malema urged the committee to agree that there was no proof of Mchunu's claim and said the minister does not have a recording he told us to play. He wanted us to listen to something he never listened to himself. Where are we? We don't have a recording. That recording doesn't exist. There's no recording where Mkhwanazi was threatening the minister. Mchunu admitted that he did not provide the recording, saying I was under the impression that they had been recorded when the recording of their conversation started. The extract is not here and it is only in reference. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.